I'm really happy to welcome you here at Braemar College Roundtable with questions and answers for our alumni and our graduates. And we are happy to welcome today Maliha, Sacha, and Mark. Maybe Greatlove will join us shortly. So let's start with a short introduction of Braemar College. And then later on, I'll introduce you guys, and then I'll ask you a few questions about your experience in Braemar College. So Braemar College is a private secondary school and the leading pathway provider located in the very downtown of Toronto on the St. George campus of the University of Toronto. We offer grade 9 to grade 12 of the secondary school curriculum, and our graduates receive the Ontario Secondary School Diploma, or Ontario OSSD, which helps them eventually to qualify for post-secondary programs all over the world. So at the moment, we have 3 programs running in our school. So Braemar College Classroom, it's our regular classroom program, Braemar Live, daily live streaming classes, and Braemar independent learning classes with weekly video meeting with the Braemar College teacher. So we have also 5 intakes per year, and students can join us anytime they would like to. We still have some spaces for September intake, so please feel free to join. And now let's come back to our panelists. Today we have Maliha. Maliha graduated from Braemar College in 2018, and she's currently studying software engineering she's currently studying biomedical engineering in London, the UK, at Queen Mary University of London. She has just started her placement year at Morgan Stanley, an American Wall Street investment bank, and she's planning to stay there for a year. And her hidden talent is to adapt the accent of the place she goes to, and that everyone thinks that she is local. And I think there's a great thing to do, because unfortunately I can't do that. I still have Ukrainian accent no matter what you do. Anyway, another panelist we have today is Sacha. Sacha has been studying with us for 3 years, and he will graduate in about a year. He's an active member of Student Council, and he's editor-in-chief of Braemar newspaper. And recently he got promoted to the senior council member. His intention is to study at the University of Toronto, Faculty of History, with the possibility of medical school in the future. He enjoys reading, writing, and listening to the piano. And his unique hobby is to reenacting the 1812 war. So later on, guys, you can go on our Instagram page and see his amazing costumes he did himself. So don't forget to follow us there and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And another panelist we have here today with us is Mark. Mark graduated from Braemar College in 2020. He was an active member of our student council, and she assisted the newcomers to adapt to the new school, engaging them in various student activities. He's currently studying at McMaster University, and his major is mathematics and statistics, and in his free time he does tutoring. So if anybody needs a tutor in English or math, please feel free to contact him. A little ad here, I hope it's okay. Anyway, let's jump in and let me ask you the question. So let's start with Maliha. Maliha, what did you appreciate the most about the Braemar College during your studying there? And how has your perspective on the change now that you have some distance from the school?
So, hello everyone. I think for me, the thing I most appreciated were the people. You know, whether that was the diversity of the students and my peers, the teachers, all of that, it was like, if you just come to the school, you'll see just how diverse the school is. The people really enhanced my experience and just allowed me to be myself. My perspective on that hasn't really changed because till date, I owe my success to the school. So for a lot of people that knew me pre-Braemar, they would know that I was one of the shyest, most timid person you'd ever meet. And it was at Braemar that I sort of managed to come out of my shell, just interact with the world and, just be who I am right now. A lot of the opportunities that I've received now are because of the skill that I learned. So in every setting after that, I found myself to be a natural leader, whether that was in, university projects, whether that was in, my work life, wherever I went, I was able to just truly be who I was because of my experience at Braemar and because the people shaped it that way. I think the people around me made it so easy to transition because everyone was so supportive. My teachers, my friends, and everybody was so friendly. And at the end of the day, it is an international school. So everybody has come from somewhere and everybody's looking to meet different people. So you're never alone, and that is what I absolutely loved about the school. I think the teachers as well do such a great job in just getting everyone to speed. It really is commendable. Even today, 3 years after I've left the school, I know that I can still count on the teachers there to write me, reference letters, provide support or mentorship. And it's just nice, knowing that I have people that I can count on. Similarly, I know for a fact that I can still count on my friends that I made there. We don't talk every day, obviously, but when we talk, it's like we never stopped. And so the relationships you end up making in settings like these, they really go a long way. And for me, they made all the difference because they really allowed me to be who I wanted to be. So yeah, definitely the people for me.
Thank you so much, Maliha. That's really nice to know your point of view. How about Sasha? What do you still appreciate about the school?
What I appreciate most about the school is the very sort of dynamic and intriguing student body, which has populated the school since its inception. But I think an interesting point about Braemar is despite its rigidity as a private school, it is very much willing to go leaps and bounds to customize student experience and tailor it to each student's needs. I have had incidents where, say, I could not take a class and I was guided through a process of being able to take that class despite the circumstances. So in some ways, one of the main things I appreciate about Braemar is the dedication of the staff and faculty to tailor and ensure a positive student experience.
Thank you so much, Sasha. And how about Mark?
What I really appreciate about school is quite different with you guys because I really appreciate about how the principal remember every student's name. And it's quite a bit different because of the cultural things. Back in China, we have like 1,000 students in one school, so it's hardly to remember every student's name for a principal. But our principal were like, when you meet her in the morning, she will give you a big smile and she said, "Hi, good morning, Mark," or "Good morning, Sasha," and it just you feel better because you feels like, okay, the school remembers my name, the school's principal remembers my name. And I've been treated very seriously, and I feel like I have kind of an energy to study, to finish my day work. Because in China, the principal they just sit in the office playing their cell phones or waiting for their after schools, and then they can live their life. Yeah, it's quite different. So when I left school, I went to university. I just realized how amazing Braemar is, because when I was in there, I sometimes complained about it, why we have so much homework and why we have a CA and why we need to bring student cards for final exams. And when I get into the university, I realized, well, this is both important things that I need to that I need to remember, because Braemar actually helping students to get into university and help with their resistance to better help the students, their work abilities or any other abilities, so they can adapt to their new life as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And Maliha, the next question. Well, what's the best knowledge that most differentiate the Braemar College School among others?
So this one's easy, and you'll hear me talk about this a lot, because I think for me this was the highlight. And for me, the answer is, again, just the diversity of people's backgrounds. So you know how Toronto is known to be extremely diverse anyway. You know, they have that saying where if you wanted to find a country that has people from all over the world, a small country or a small place, that would be Toronto. But Braemar just takes it to a whole new level, you know, because every single person you meet, you know, has got their own story. They're from a different place, and most likely they're from a place that you've probably never been to or don't know much about. And it's like, it's the most sort of education experience, because, you know, you learn so much about people's cultures and people's backgrounds. And I think for me that was literally eye-opening, because, you know, coming from Kenya, I was just in my shell. Like I grew up with similar minded people, you know, in a small community. I didn't have any sort of exposure to people outside my bubble. And so when I came to Braemar, I think initially it was like a shock, but then I realized I actually really loved it. And so it's really beautiful in the way that your education isn't limited to academia, but there's also practical education about the world. And I think for me, that made me more street smart, if that makes sense, you know, not just book smart, but also street smart, because you learn practical life lessons and how to deal with different people from different cultures. You really get a chance to sort of educate yourself and on what exists out there, you know, so that you can become an all-rounded person in just the walk of life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. How about Sacha? What do you think?
I think an incredibly distinguishing feature is that while officially the school entitles responsibility and respect as its main values, there seems to be a very high group collective and an important stance on humanism within the school and the potential and frank possibility of each student there. And because everyone tends to follow this idea of the power of the individual student and the power of each person and their own individual stories, as Maliha said, it leads to a very happy, bubbly, and productive conversation amongst each student body. And I've never seen that within the public education system, as the public education system is far more cynical, and it tends to follow a group mentality of each class, each cohort. But at Braemar, there's such a light on the individual that each student feels respected and well-deserved of their, admiration. As such, everybody is very positive. There's a high amount of optimism about the future. And while there might be joking and there might be humor abounding to the work or abounding to specific teachers or faculty or what have you, it still leads to a very positive environment and an engaging and enlightening one at that. I have learned more at my time at Braemar than probably in the rest of my life, simply because of this mentality.
Thank you so much, Sacha. And Mark, what is your opinion?
So before I went to the Braemar, I went to other schools that I visit, trying to make my choice. And I went to Markham, I went to York, I went to Mississaugas, and I realized that those schools, they don't have kind of a extra curriculum or extra activities to fulfill students' after school lives. For example, Braemar, the Braemar wants to create some different activities for students so that they can practice more English or some to gain their habits. But the other schools, they don't have it except the homework. And that's the reason why the Braemar has a student council meeting to talk about what kind of activities that we're going to have, so that we have a sports night, we have a soccer night, and we have a lot of different clubs to make people, talk. That's more important, because we all from different countries and we barely have no friends, because when I was here, I find myself, I'm a little bit afraid of making friends because I've never seen those guys. I don't know where you come from. But sports night offer me a very good place to talk, because I play balls a lot. so that I make a lot of friends from Turkey, from Russia. So that's how I gradually to adjust myself into my students' life. But some the other schools, they don't have it. Maybe they just sit there and study, and they don't have much classroom or much students like us. So the Braemar really did really good job on extracurriculum. Also, we have a cooking club. So any student who find interesting on cooking, they can they can learn how to cook so that they don't have to eat the homestay food.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. So, Maliha, if the school would be represented as a single person, what does the personality be like in only 3 words, in your opinion, and why?
I think that's a really interesting one. I think in 3 words, for me, its personality would be fun, memorable, and inclusive. I think the reason I say this is because it really is a place unlike any other. I'm sure everyone who's been to the school, has found it to be extremely memorable. This is something that stays with you throughout your educational journey, like, that year or 2 or 3 or however long you spent at Braemar. I think it does get plastered in your memory, and you just, you look back and you think about it, and you appreciate it, because it's filled with a variety of unique experiences and people, and just generally it feels like a very fun place, right? It is also extremely inclusive, as I kept mentioning and will keep mentioning, because you've got people from all backgrounds, and so everyone feels welcomed, knowing that their strengths lie in their diverse nature. The diversity, for me, I think would actually be a USP of the school, a unique selling point. And so I think it has really allowed people to just leverage their differences and make them their strengths. And I just think it's also a place where, everyone's skills are nurtured, as opposed to most high schools. You don't have a toxic culture, a very cutthroat culture. It's a very healthy competition. Everybody thrives in their own way. So it is very inclusive in that space, in that way. And students are just given that space to pursue what they need to, and what they feel strongly about, and then they're given the adequate support to do so. So I think for me, those 3 words would be would describe the school.
Thank you, Maliha. How about Sasha?
To be frank, Braemar is so dynamic and frankly odd that I don't think it could be adequately described as a person. But if I had to, I would say a very eccentric, responsible, and, as Maliha said, inclusive person. Due to the diversity of culture, values, and morality of Braemar, there's always something new happening, and there's always something strange happening, which makes it a very eccentric and enjoyable environment, to say the least. But regardless of that potential chaos, it is still at its core a very inclusive and a very work strong, work hard, and work well to succeed school. Teachers are always encouraging diligence with fun, which is a very important factor for hard and smart work. You cannot work efficiently if you don't feel good about your work, and Braemar always makes you feel rather well about your work. So if Braemar was a person, it would certainly be those 3 traits, even if you probably can't adequately describe it as a person, simply because it's such a strange place.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Sasha. And how about Mark? What do you think?
Braemar is very helpful, because when I was going to expire my study permit, I come into the front desk and talk to Maria, and she said, "Okay, sit here, I can help you." And she showed me exactly the procedures, and teach me what kind of file do I need to prepare, and the instructions that I need to follow, and it's free. Yeah. And the second one is reliable, because Braemar teachers and staff are very reliable during the class, especially ENG 4U or ENG 3U. The teacher will show you how to avoid plagiarism, because it's a very serious problem in the university. You don't want to get that happen. So they will talk about like 3 or 4 times to remind students, do not plagiarism, write an essay by your own. If you don't know how to write, or if you have some question, come to me. That the teachers or some other students were willing to help out. And the last words I'm gonna say is sociable. Just like I said, when I first get into school, I'm pretty afraid of making friends. But we have so many activities or clubs. I can find someone who have same interest with me, so I don't have to worry about that. During the weekend, you can grab your friends, go into some basketball, have some fun. So you don't have to really worry about that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And another question for Maliha. What one thing would you change about Braemar College for better if you had to choose something?
I think this was yeah, I think this is quite a tough one, just because I did think the school was really good in all aspects, but if I rattle my brain and if I try to think of something, I think it would be the campus. I think the location of the school is so ideal, but just the premises don't match up to, you know, the eliteness of the school. So it would be nice if they could get their own building, or, you know, have a ground instead of having to hire out grounds, you know, have our own swimming pool, just things like that, you know. A girl can dream, right? So it would be nice to have a premise that wasn't shared with other, you know, because the way that our building is, we've got 2 floors right at the top of the building, and then there's other floors being used for other things, and so it doesn't give the vibe of the school. So I think, yeah, for me, if I could change something, it'd be to get a much bigger campus. Same location, I love the location, but yeah, bigger campus with a ground, with a field, yeah, and a swimming pool, hopefully.
So Maliha, it looks like your dreams is coming true. Braemar is growing, and now we share the building only with the University of Toronto on the 2nd floor. But it looks like they're gonna leave like in a year or so. So we're occupying the whole building. The whole first floor is going to student council now, so they can have the activities clubs there, and you know, swimming pool probably, maybe, you know, on the rooftop, who knows. But I'll let Blair know.
Okay.
Thank you, Marika. Thank you. Dreaming is great. How about Sasha? What would you have changed?
While I would love all of Maliha's changes were incorporated because they're simply fantastic, one minor thing, this is completely arbitrary. The interior design of the building is extremely corporate and kind of off. I don't know how to describe it. It's very bland and quite just generic, which I don't really think matches the sort of dynamic of the school. The school in itself is a very diverse and very alive world, and the interior kind of reflects a more corporate, bare bones, industrialist sort of sense. But that's completely minute, and that's frankly up to the discretion of each teacher, not really the school as a whole. But if I had to make one little change, it would be improving the interior decorating. But that's completely minute and is outweighed by far from the benefits of the school.
Thank you so much, Sasha. How about Mark? What do you think? What would you have changed?
Well, I wish the school can have its own cafeteria so that we don't have to go out to buy some stuff, especially in the morning. You know, I live in the homestay, 45 minutes away from the school. So every time I wake up, I calculate my time. Like, I calculate my time to school, so it's 45 minutes. When I get here, it's nearly 9:10, so it's about to class. I don't have any extra time for Tim Hortons or my cafes. So I really wish the school can have, or even just, it doesn't have to be big. It's just small enough, you know, put some hot coffee or some cupcakes or cookies. Because, you know, when I get into the classroom, I sit there, I feel hungry, and I feel a bit dizzy, and I couldn't concentrate it. So I always go to my coffee during the break time. And also during the lunch time, we sit together, and the most conversation we have is complain about homestay. And okay, you have a sandwich again, I have a sandwich again. And the other person said, I have a sandwich every day. Because the location of our school is located in downtown, and the other space, except burgers or Tim Hortons, other stuff are quite a bit expensive than the other place. And the students don't want to pay their lunch every day for outside. So the only choice they have is bring sandwiches to the school. So I really wish the school maybe can make some like easy food for cupcakes or cookies or spaghettis. Yeah.
For the cooking club, like Mike is trying to do that now. He's our activity director. So he is trying to bring healthy snacks, cookies, some cupcakes, vegetables, not only fruits we had before. So, but now in September, and I will let them know. That's a great idea. Thank you so much, Mike. So, Maliha, what would other students find surprising about Braemar College, in your opinion?
So on top of everything, we've already mentioned, I think without a shadow of doubt, I think that would be the location of the school. So students may have been told prior to coming, how great of a location it is and all of that. But I don't think you can actually appreciate it until you actually visit and go to the school. Being international and, being plopped right away in the center of downtown, with U of T across the street, Ryerson's not too far away either. You've got all sorts of stores near you. The convenience that comes with that is literally unmatched in terms of your career, your further education, in terms of living. I think in every way, you're so, covered, like literally on all fronts. And I think as somebody who is new to the city, you couldn't possibly ask for a better location. So for me, I think it would definitely be the location.
Thank you, Maliha. How about Sacha?
My audio cut out for a second. What was the question again?
So what would other students find the most surprising about Braemar?
To be frank, I think the most shocking thing, once again, is sort of the mentality of Braemar and despite the fact it's a major melting pot of different cultures, beliefs, and values, it all comes together in a very cooperative and dynamic way. Often with these types of situations where there's hyperdiversity, there's an issue with social cohesion, which is when people can't communicate well across cultures. But at Braemar, because the faculty always gently push you to socialize more and gently push you to get out of your bubble, there is great cohesion amongst the students. I've been able to talk to people with Russia as if I knew them for the past 10 years. I've been able to talk with people from Vietnam, a culture that I only know very little about, with absolute authenticity and frank genuineness. So I think the most shocking thing is how, despite the dynamic and diverse amount of people and cultures that all come together, there is always going to be someone to talk to because everybody simply gets along.
I see. Okay, how about Mark?
The most surprising things I found in Braemar was the class atmosphere. It was amazing, and we only have like 20 or maximum 30 students in the class, which is impossible in China. Every classroom has a 60.
You have 30 students?
Yes. We have 60 students in China, each class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, like it is kind of hard for a teacher to remember every student's name because in the meantime, those teachers teach like 5 to 6 class or they go into the different classes, see different people every day, except the good students. Yeah. And so during the class, every student had a chance to talk during the class. No matter you raise your hand up or the teacher will call you. And this is amazing because a lot of the Chinese students just sit there and listen. They won't do the talking job. Both the teacher finish the talking job and they dismiss. Also that we have like one-on-one meeting during the midterm, which you can talk to the teacher your questions or any question for the curriculum or any question for the marks, which is we don't have this chance. And even though we come to the teacher and teacher were like, why you come to my office? You have some problem? Or In China, if we come to the office, it only occurs we have some problem. We doing something bad things. Yeah, nobody, none of the want to step into the office to see the teachers because you may get in trouble with it.
I see. I see. So Braemar was opposite, right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mark. So, and the last question for today, I don't want to keep you guys long. Maliha, what advice would you give to the students who are coming to Braemar?
I think the main advice I'd give is literally just be yourself, you know, be confident in who you are and try not to get intimidated. I think a lot of people that come in initially, they get really intimidated because obviously you don't know anyone, it's a new city, and you know, people come from very different backgrounds, so it's very easy to get intimidated initially. But I think just remembering that everyone here is just like you. Everybody here has come to Braemar to study. You know, they've come from their home country to study. So everyone's in the same boat as you. And so just believe in yourself and you'll see that everyone around you will too, you know, and they will push you to be the best version of yourself, you know, your friends, your teachers. And also just, you know, make the most of the support you get, because you get a lot of support, and, you know, just make the most of it, make most of the location, you know, try and get involved with different things, you know, go see U of T right across the street, you know, if you're interested in studying at university in Toronto. So yeah, and Braemar has a partnership with them as well. So just use that wisely, use all the resources you've got wisely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maliha. How about Sacha?
I can give advice to very new students. I would say try to dive in and try to get yourself ingrained within the student culture of Braemar and try to actively improve it as an individual, simply because that just makes the group culture and the group dynamic even better and more splendid. I think a big problem, as Melly said, is people becoming intimidated or they're very timid on arrival. And the frank truth is that if you can try at least to try and delve into student activities, maybe get involved in a club, maybe get involved with a small bubble of people, because really all social situations are just little bubbles of people, you'll do well, you'll prosper. And I've seen it a couple times where newer students need someone to approach to, and I want to tell them that you can really approach practically any teacher, and they will assist you to try and get involved more, or you can even approach any of the student council and they'll assist you. They'll be your friend. There's always someone willing to help you, so accept the help. It's good to have some humility and just accept the fact that maybe you are a little over your head. That's okay, and you can get involved more. And that's about it.
Thank you so much, Sacha. How about Mark?
So my advice for the new coming students is that be brave and do not feel shy to speak during the class, especially Chinese students. You know, as I said, we just sit there and listen. We don't do the talk job. But I encourage all the Chinese students coming to the Braemar and be brave enough to raise your hand and answer the questions, and do not feel shy. Do not feel afraid any other classmates will laugh at you, because nobody does, even though your English is not good. But this is a key to practice. This is why you came to Canada. This is why you study English. And all the matter of speaking, all the matter of practice. And that's how you can learn better. That's how you can get into the university and move on.
Thank you, Mark. And we have another participant who just joined us. It's Greatlove. Greatlove, thank you for joining. Let me just tell something briefly about you. So Greatlove graduated in 2020, and she's currently studying in software engineering at the Sunday School of Engineering at York University. Moreover, she's working as a program mentor at K2I Academy at York University. And their goal is to introduce the STEM programs to the high school students. So if any of our listeners have questions about STEM programs, which are science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, please feel free to reach out to her. Yeah, so Greatlove, we're already just finishing up. I just want to ask you, you know, like in general, if you could share just a brief experience about Braemar, what was the most memorable? What advice can you give to the Braemar College future students?
So hi everyone. Hi Tamara and Jahal, Alexander and Maliha. I really
Sound.
excuse me?
Maybe it's the headset.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so thank you for having me, even though it's close to the end. One thing I would say that really stood out to me about Braemar is that it's a very diverse space. So I'm sure many other people have said this, but it's a very diverse space. And even though you're new to Canada, it doesn't really feel like you're new because you'll likely see someone else from your country, someone else who has similar experiences to you. And there are also a lot of extracurricular activities, even though I would love to see like more on-school facility activities. For instance, let's have a sports center or something like that. But they still made it possible for us to go to other places and play volleyball, for example. So yes, that's my opinion on Braemar.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more. How did you manage to create the dancing club at Braemar College?
Well, it's a bit funny, not really funny. It was just kind of narrow. So I joined the club when I arrived at Braemar, and I've forgotten his name, but he used to teach us dance routines at Braemar, and we were about 6 in the club. Like people would come some weeks and then not come the next week. But after that term, he stopped coming because his classes interfered with the timing. But I always used to go, and the other members also stopped coming because it's also interfered with their timing. But then the teacher noticed that I always used to come, and then she told me to go and find other members. So I did that, and yeah, I just started teaching them routines instead. Yeah.
Okay, and any tips for the future students from your side?
I would advise you to be free, even though you are introverted, like I am, like I still am. Just try to let your desires lead you. So forget about being embarrassed. You are definitely going to do some things that feel new and some things that feel foreign, but that's how you grow as a person and that's how you make connections with others. So I'll definitely advise you once you come, be ready to do that spontaneous thing. Be ready to do things you didn't imagine yourself doing before that are positive, of course. Yeah, so that's my advice.
Thank you so much, Greatlove. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate for you joining us today. I know everybody values your time. I don't want to keep you long. I hope our listeners enjoyed our questions and answers roundtable with our alumni and our students. So please subscribe for our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram for future videos. Thank you so much, guys. Great to see you all. Wishing you best of luck. Hope to see you soon in September. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.